wonderful Federal Capital Territory. Hope you enjoyed the rain of the night. It came in at about, it depends on where you stay, but in some areas, it came in around, I think in Cairo, it started around 10 o'clock. If I'm right, around Jukwe within that 10, after 10 o'clock, and got to AYA at about 10:30, and hit some parts of Gwarimpa almost within 10:40. Dusiala Haji Kubwa also felt it before 11, and it pours down to areas like Azuba, Gwagwalada, Madala. It touches through everywhere, and the weather this morning is wet. Some who apparently enjoy being lazy will take more sleep and enjoy that, and actually ask whether it's done here. You know, this is when we used to go to farm. We don't want the rain to come in the night. We want you to come in the morning so that it disrupts the process of going to farm. When the rain falls and everyone had to be at home, or sometimes you want it when the corn, the maize are strong. When the maize is strong, you just get to the farm and you're praying for the rain to start, and you get to farm in the morning, and dad have given you work to do, and the weather changes quickly, and the next thing the rain starts. As the rain is coming heavily, you have to go get all the maize you can get, all the pear you can get, all the yam, and start to cook, because you know that the rain will come, and you pray that the rain stays so long so that you can cook your food, eat, rest, and even do so before somehow. Okay, let's go back now, talk aviation here quickly. Many thought by today would have hit the sky. The domestic airlines will be flying and flying so well, but somehow it was not to be. Postponement was announced. So much worry here. Some aviation stakeholders are already discussing that what is really happening. Why did the federal government not keep to its words that people will be hitting the sky likely from today? How come they can't hit the sky today? No date have been fixed yet. The aviation sector have been badly hit, fully grounded, although there have been reports and complaints that many persons are flying in and out very heavily, but we'll leave that for another day. But now we'll be joining our own, Mr. Godwin Ike, who is our own aviation freak here, one who have loved aviation sector, to tell us what really happened. But first, let's meet him. Good. Mr. Godwin Ike, you look relaxed this morning, a wonderful morning.
Hi, good morning.
You're very much relaxed this morning. How are you starting the week? How was the rain of the night?
Wonderful. It went for the deaths and the inconveniences the coronavirus is causing the entire world. I would have said that this has been the best time of my life. I'm getting good rest, and I'm eating well. And
that means you're enjoying the lockdown.
Sorry?
I said that means you are enjoying the lockdown. If this be the best time of your life, you rest more, you read more, and you connect more. That means you're enjoying the lockdown.
I have just told you that but for the deaths and the ill health and inconveniences, a whole lot of people are suffering, you know, not just only in Nigeria, but around the world. I can tell you there hasn't been a better time. I have never rested as much as I have, and I've never been able to research. If we open up, I'm loaded with so much information to pass on to the aviation sector if anybody would open his or her ears to listen and hear. And I can tell you that Nigeria will do away with Corona just exactly the way we did to Ebola. It will soon develop its wings and fly away from the surface of this nation. Be sure of that. It will happen soon. I have faith that will happen soon.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Colin Enike. Now, the topic for today is about delay in the takeoff of domestic flights in the country. Many had believed, many had been thinking that we would have been on the sky now, crisscrossing Lagos, Abuja, Kaduna, Rivers, and every other part of the country, going to the southeast, the south here. But that is not to be. That did not happen now. The worry we got as we speak at the moment here is what should we be doing. But first of all, let me get you. How did you receive the news that the domestic flight will not be resuming again?
I wasn't surprised, and I'm not surprised that it's happening. I expected it to happen because the airlines were not ready. It's not about the airport or the airports authority. It's about the airlines. You know, in aviation, everything is about security and safety. If anything interferes with any of those two, security and safety, that thing will have to be put at the back burner until we achieve, you know, a sense of security and a sense of safety. You can't afford to rush into opening up, and then 1 or 2 days into the flights, you begin to hear that planes are dropping off the skies and slaughtering, you know, passengers. You don't want to hear that. It wouldn't make sense. All the rush would amount to nonsense. If you have business to do and you have families to visit and all that, and they end up hearing that you got dished into one ocean or into one forest or the other and slaughtered, no family wants to receive that news. And so I was expecting it. And if people have been following this, our humble program, they would have been able to put 2 and 2 together to ensure that, or rather, to determine that it was likely that this date would not be kept. Remember, I told not just the nation, but the world, that when airplanes sit on the ground, all they do is not only run bills, but they have their airworthiness compromised. The airworthiness get challenged. And so before you can put that airplane back into the skies, you have to carry out the necessary maintenance. But you see, what other people did around the world, people who were on top of it, was that they had line engineers at their airports, ensuring that all those daily maintenance services that the airlines or airplanes rather, that the airplanes needed were done on them every day, every other day. As a matter of fact, the longest an average jet plane can park on the ground without needing a line engineer to take a look at it is 24 hours. You will be surprised to hear that, Arthur. If you park a jet plane for 24 hours, some line engineers will take a look. On a weekly basis, you must have those wheels rolled around to ensure that they are free of rust and to ensure that the braking systems are, continue to work well for you. Otherwise, you're going to find a situation where you put into the skies an airplane that has just come out from sitting on the ground without appropriate maintenance done, and as the pilot heads home to the threshold of the runway, touches down, and then engages his back thrust, and of course, back thrust is only there to help the mechanical brakes stop the airplane before the end of the runway, and then he steps on his mechanical brakes, on his pedals, and find out that the plane is busy tearing away towards the end of the runway without, stopping. That is a crash. And that is likely to set fire, and that is likely to consume everyone in that airplane. And so you must carry out that routine of ensuring that the wheels are working well. What's more, the undercarriage shock struts need to be lubricated, because if you don't, the likelihood is that you take it to the skies, torque in your wheels, and then get to your destination, and you want to extend your wheels to get ready for landing, and the hydraulic systems find themselves unable to push out the wheels because they are stiff. They weren't well lubricated. They sat on the ground for so long that they got stiff, and so you begin to look for fire extinguishing foam to lay on the runway and begin to get ready to land the airplane on its belly. That is a dangerous process. It's quite extremely dangerous and life-threatening. And so there again, Arthur, when you have a plane sitting on the ground for upwards of 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, the electronic systems on the dashboard that help pilots to navigate in the skies will lose their in-use status, their in-use mode. They will lose them. So you find a situation where the control tower tells a pilot, please head 70 degrees or 45 degrees, as the case may be, and the man or woman behind the sticks takes a look at his equipment, and it is giving him 45 as directed, but in reality the plane is heading 30 or 25. Totally wrong direction from what has been given. That plane will never land safely, because more often than not, the instruments are guiding you, to your destination. You will just be flying away from your destination, fooling yourself, believing you are doing the right thing, but it's not your fault, because the equipment is not calibrated and it's not in a state of in-use mode. You just get misdirected. That again is extremely dangerous. There are a whole lot of things to worry about. If those airplanes were packed without filling the tanks with aviation fuel, in order to sit there and have those tanks properly in a state of no rust and the rest of them, and no impurities to go suffocate the engines, the likelihood is that if you just get up overnight and begin to pour fuel into those rusty tanks, you have the chance of the engines flaming out mid-air. That again would ditch the airplane and slaughter all the occupants. So there's so much to be done. Unfortunately, I do not think that we have line engineers taking care of those airplanes as they pack for all these months. And another problem would be that airlines do not have the money to carry out those services. Sorry, did you say something?
No, I'm hearing you. Go ahead, please. Go ahead. I can hear you clearly.
So the likelihood is that the airlines have been saying this for the past few months in all my appearances on ITV, on NTA, on name them, they're on TVC, on Armed Forces Radio. I've been talking to this nation, hoping that somebody would be listening, hoping that we'll be getting ready, but it will appear that I was talking to deaf ears. And then here we are. So if we, I support the attitude and action of NCAA. They are doing what they are supposed to be doing. They know that it's not safe to begin flight operations. And Musa Nuhu, the DG, has said what I should have said if I were in his shoes. We can't fly because we're not ready. It's not safe to fly now. So let's begin to think about how we can get the airlines, lay hands on some money and encourage them to carry out appropriate servicing and putting in place appropriate protocols for post-COVID flight. And so, or rather, for COVID flights, because you can't call it post because it's, COVID-19 is very much, still with us. So we've got to do what we've got to do and do them right. So that's where we are, Arthur. That's where we are.
Okay, I'm getting worried here if we are really very serious, sir. We got 3 months since we shut down the airport. 3 months, we did nothing. 3 months, although you tried to explain that, 3 months, there was no testing, there was no checking, there was no, what do you call it now, routine, just very short distance flight to check how best this aircraft, these faithful machines, as you call them, are flying here. After 3 months, we did no preparation. And after we have announced we are going to be opening the airspace, we discovered that for 3 months, we've been sleeping. Now, the question is, are we really serious? If for 3 months, the pilots, the aeronautic engineers, and every other one here are just in the house enjoying the lockdown when they were put on essential list, are we getting it right? Now we have to go again to start to check again. Are we not missing the script or losing the script?
Atta, I can understand your emotional outburst, but I must tell you that studies have shown that when people get things free of charge, they usually have no value for them. It reminds me of one of my followers from United States of America, precisely from the West Coast, Los Angeles, sent me a WhatsApp message and wondering aloud, God Ike, I have followed you for a couple of years right now. I am thrilled about what you're doing in Nigeria, but I doubt if anyone is listening to you in Nigeria. And guess what? This follower happens to be a woman who's an aviation enthusiast, and just happened to have stumbled into my blog and has been following all my videos and all the counsel I've been given. And during the latest video that I uploaded and that she watched, she quickly just sent me a WhatsApp message and said, I doubt if anyone is listening to you in Nigeria. Well, I gave good enough advanced information of what those airplanes will need to be able to get back into the skies safely. I began to sing the song about 2 months ago. I sang the song in ITV. I sang it on NTA. I sang it on TVC in Lagos. I sang it on severally, multiple times on Armed Forces Radio 107.7 FM. I did. If anyone listened, I had expected that line engineers would have been in place. Of course, money would have been needed to be paying them. They wouldn't have been one of those laid off on non-paying leave. They would have been right there on duty, ensuring that on daily basis they did what they needed to do to keep those airplanes on top of their shape. Unfortunately, we seem to have waited until we began to see the flicker of light at the end of the tunnel, that we might just be opening up to begin to run our economy once again. Remember, the economy would never run right without the aviation sector. And as soon as that happened, as usual, we started our fire brigade, affairs. Unfortunately, those that will run the fire brigade business and put out the fire seem not to be well funded enough to acquire all the materials needed to put out the fire. I mean, if you understand, the metaphor I'm using right now. And so that's where we are. Unfortunately, I understand how you feel. I understand the emotional outburst, but we must run our nation and all organs of our nation more responsibly. We need to. We are supposed to be the biggest economy in Africa. We must use everything we have. We have the best, but we seem not to have value for what we have, unfortunately.
Okay, now if we are saying we're not ready yet now, but what I'm not comfortable with is we are not putting date, we are not setting target yet. Now the planes are not ready. We appear not to be ready. Let me use the word now we, because I know it's not my fault. We are not ready here. But can we put a date, Mr. Gordon Ike, when we ought to be resuming? Because it was as if we never had a date before. So from the commencement of the full lockdown announced by the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, we just went ahead, go into the lockdown, get what do you call it now, the bed properly dressed, and we dose off. Now we're waking up to the reality that, look, we must build back the sector and get our plane hitting the skies. Now, it appears from the angle of the PTF, the angle of Mr. Godwin N. Ike, the angle of the NCAA, we are not putting a date yet. Are we ready? Or is it something that we just wait until when sometime we got this big money we're waiting for to service the plane, carry all the check, D check, C check, then we come back to work?
Atta, it's heart-rending what's going on. I don't know where we're going to start from. I don't know how we're going to explain anything to anyone. We run ourselves and our systems in a manner that demand positive change. We need to change our style. We need to change our attitude. As a matter of fact, more often than not, we act in ways that one can only describe as extremely very nasty. Let me remind you of something so that you see, it gives you a snippet of the way we are and the way we've been running ourselves as a people and as a nation that we need to change. Considering that we might just be having, a huge spike in the number of infections as we continue to battle with an uninformed society. A whole lot of people are still thinking that this coronavirus thing is a fluke, and that people are just busy telling tales and manufacturing figures, and that's what a whole lot of people, think. I was somewhere, a few days ago to condole with somebody who lost her son, and I was shocked to hear them in the family there discussing that the whole thing about Corona was a fluke, and they didn't believe that it ever existed. I canceled and canceled and canceled. I wasn't sure anyone was listening to my counsel as I was assuring them that it was real and that it is real, and people should really get serious and save their lives. Now, thinking that I could help in one little way, I wrote to the Minister of Health offering a massive property belonging to me in my hometown of Nnewi in Anambra State, with a complement of a 60 kVA generator that I paid with my hard-earned money. Called on the nation, in case you begin to have some spike in Anambra State, you may begin to look for bed space, here and there. Please, can you use this facility, put it in place just in case? Up 2.5 months running, not a courtesy of a written acknowledgement. Even if the design of the house is not good enough for what you may call a holding center or a treatment center or wherever you think is not right. Courtesy demands from a serious-minded group of individuals, a serious-minded nation, a serious-minded officials. Courtesy demands that a short 2-line letter of a word of thank you. We appreciate your gesture. Unfortunately, we do not think that this particular property suits the design of what we are looking for. But thank you anyway. Atta, how can you draw patriotism from your people, from your, from this nation or from the people of this nation, if you have people treated in such nasty manner? It's horrible, horrible, extremely horrible.
And we can't go on this way. Somebody has got to put an end to the nonsense. It's all nonsensical. And that's why we have all this on our hands. We have got to put it to an end.
Okay, now, let me quickly, I know you're already getting passionate again from that other end of yours, but sadly here, sometimes we just say it that way now. But in all of this that we do now, I know it may not be all the planes that, well, some have asked the question, it may not be all the planes that may need just comprehensive checks. Some of them may have even been running before, because some planes are running for some big persons, like some alleged here. But from your own perspective, can we start with the planes ready? Then the other ones who are not ready, we join later, or do we wait for all the planes, all the fleets to be ready before we hit the sky?
I understand the way your mind is working, but you see, if you don't have things really set, you are going to have, you know, the aviation sector is a highly regulated sector. If you want to do anything, you want to do them right. If you can't do them right, don't even start. That is the aviation sector for you, worldwide, not just only in Nigeria. Flight planning is not something that you do haphazardly. They are done in a manner, holistically, in a manner that ensures that you know which track any particular airplane is taken to go to anywhere, which flight level you are placing any of the airplanes in the skies, and you want to be sure that everything is properly coordinated, so coordinated that at every point in time, you know who is leaving from point A to B, and who is leaving point B to C, and from C to D, and D to A. You've got to just have all this whole thing in place also for safety. And so asking that if one or two planes are ready, let them begin to offer services while others are getting ready may not make enough sense. I do understand how you feel and how Nigerians out there, those who want to be making trips to Lagos may just say, oh, come on, let's have Abuja, Lagos, while we get ready for Abuja, Port Harcourt, and get ready for Abuja, Uyo, Abuja, Enugu when it comes on stream. You know, people are going to be thinking that way. But I'll tell you what, unfortunately, that is not how the aviation sector works. This whole thing has got us, especially for those that are available and that are going to end up taking to the skies, they have to be absolutely ready so that all the flight planning will be done and done well and accommodate everyone safely in the skies. That, unfortunately, that's the way it is. And so NCAA has made a good decision. I was expecting it because I knew we were not ready. I canceled severally that line engineers should be in place to ensure that those planes were, you know, put in proper order. And I also, for the very first one, perhaps in the world, humbly so, I remain the only one that told people who do not have enough knowledge and information about the aviation sector the meaning of keeping planes on the ground. The fact that their airworthiness get challenged. I know that a whole lot of Nigerians didn't know that parking airplanes is not like parking your car. You park your car, for as long as your battery is strong and good, you will just walk into your car, crank your engine, and off you go. But not the airplane. If you park for more than 24 hours and onwards, every day the airworthiness gets challenged. And any day you want to fly, you must spend huge sums of money to put them back in use mode to be able to fly safely. Otherwise, you will have some unacceptable falling off the skies on your hands, and you don't want to have that. So NCAA has taken the right decision. I stand with them on the decision. We must make sure that all the airlines
already.
But Mr. You're not giving me time. What's the time frame here? Some guys already bought ticket last week, hoping they're going to be flying this week here. But now you're not giving me time. What's the time frame? When are we going to be? By your time, you follow this sector so keenly. You are a major, critical, fundamental stakeholder here. But what is the time frame so that we don't have disclosure for to infinity?
Atta, unfortunately, I can't help you with that information. The reason I can't help you with that information is that I don't run the finances of the airlines. I don't run NCAA, neither do I run Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria. I don't run either of any of those. And so I just can't give you that time. We can only keep our fingers crossed and hope that the appropriate authorities do what they have to do, and that the airlines themselves, if they need financial assistance, should buck up and seek financial assistance. And I would encourage the government or whoever else can offer them financial assistance to do what they have to do to have the airplanes airworthy and start their operations to do so. If you watched my appearance on NTA along with the Honorable Minister Hadi Sirika, that was about 2 Tuesdays ago. I don't know if you saw that program. You would have heard me, say, clearly on that program that the finances of airlines would need to be looked into. We need to regulate them. We need to tell them how to run their financial affairs and ensure that they begin to learn how to put away money, for the rainy day, and be more responsible with their finances, so that they stop running into crisis whenever there is a small shaking, like coronavirus has shaken everyone at the moment. And so, gladly, the Honorable Minister keyed into it straight away and agreed with me on that program, and agreed completely that they were going to look into how to restructure and organize and regulate the local airliners. I'm hoping that they will do well with that and get it done as quickly as possible, so that we can have more responsible airliners in Nigeria. We are a great nation. We are a big nation. We just have to live up to what we are.
Okay, quickly before I let you go, quickly here, before the further what do you call it now, halt on domestic airline takeoff, there was this talk before when they brought us some guidelines or whatever of a 3 hours pre-flight check-in process here. Is that not too long?
Sorry?
I said before the indefinite announcement now of no flight movement within the country, domestic flight here, there was this talk about aviation guidelines where they want to open the airport before, and they talk about 3 hours pre-flight process. Is that not too long?
No. I tell you what, Atta, it makes sense that happens. Most importantly, we need to begin to document flyers. Anyone that comes into the airport to fly now must be properly identified. It's not the kind of, the identification of the past where people came to the airport and lied and gave wrong addresses and gave wrong information about who they were and where they were going. It's not anymore. We can't afford those anymore. We need to document people effectively in the best manner that we can, ensure that we know who's flying, where he or she is coming from, where he or she is heading. The reason is that if for any reason anyone comes down with the coronavirus disease and that person is traced to have flown in a particular flight with some individuals, contact tracing of all those who flew in that particular flight must be done seamlessly and smoothly so that we can turn them in and quarantine them and ensure that they are free of the virus. It's the only way we can flatten the curve. There is no other way. And so, apart from having people checked, temperature checked, having people sanitize their hands and arms and the rest of them, the documentation part of it will take a whole lot of time. Imagine a situation where a full flight of about 250 passengers, or depending on the size of the airplane, if it's a 777 of one of the Air Peace 777 decides to haul people who are rushing to make trip either to Lagos or from Lagos to Abuja, and you have about 350 passengers to attend to, just one flight and one airline. And imagine that in the airport you might have about 3 or 4 such airlines wanting to take off within the same range of time. Those documentations will be uphill task and will be time consuming. And so and of course be mindful of human behavior. When you tell people 2 hours, they do you 1.5 hours. You tell them 1 hour, they do you 30 minutes, sometimes 15 minutes to the flight. You find people rushing into the airport and wanting to be served and wanting to be checked in and running, like a madhouse, trying to get on board. That's human behavior. So 3 hours is good, so that those that will still come 2 hours to the time will meet the queue while being almost exhausted, for the appropriate documentation before they fly. COVID-19 has come with its own positives. One of its positives is that we must learn how to be disciplined. We must learn how to play by the rules and timeously. That's the positive side of COVID-19. The negative, of course, we all know, has been busy slaughtering people and destroying families around the world. May God help us get COVID-19 behind us in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you very much, Aviation Freak here, Mr. Golden Enike, ending in a cleric manner. Thank you very much. Let's hope you enjoy the lockdown and further relaxation and do more research on how best we can dwell and hit the sky properly. Thank you very much, sir.
Be sure of that. I'm working and then and resting as well and eating well as well. Thank you for my lovely wife. She's taking really good care of me, and I'm doing my best to ensure that I dole out authentic and good aviation information, by the way, free of charge. My followers around the world are beginning to wonder whether I shouldn't begin to monetize this. I say, no, I'm having fun. I'm educating my nation. Someday, my nation will remember that one man called Godike passed through here and gave the aviation world the best you can ever receive, free of charge.
Thank you very much. All the best. Have a wonderful and a lovely week ahead. Thank you. That's how far we can go on Aviation Update for today. We'll take a break. When we return from the break, the program this morning on ITV will continue.